This is,
I don't need my cheaters to look at my
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still gonna look. Some stuff I can't see that far.
It's on wheels, we can wheel it close to you.
We are staying.
We're gonna switch you with John over there. You're tired of sitting next to me anyways.
Oh, no, you're too entertaining. Especially when you two.
You haven't seen the two of us get going
I
yet.
know, just go like this.
We haven't been going at all.
The proponent should run.
Survive all the snow.
Put it on them.
Survive all the snow.
Yeah. Not just all muddy.
Yeah, we're on.
It's on.
We're on.
I won't say what I'm thinking of.
You have to write it.
Not my, I don't know, it's gonna come down. Whole kitchen ceiling. That's cracked and the whole of the ceiling. Yeah.
Tyler?
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Insurance cover. Outstanding. Yeah. Trying to read the contractor and feel what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
What we need.
You let me know when you're ready.
You gotta do my-
I didn't want you to
But
start
you-
opening
yeah,
paper.
you're right, it's cracked on the ceiling.
I was just looking to see if I even brought it. I'm not even ready.
Okay, we're gonna get started. We're gonna start with the Pledge of Allegiance. You wouldn't mind standing? Say the pledge after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Cindy.
Chair Lorenzo.
Here.
Rebecca Anderson.
Here.
John Kopis. Anthony Gorski.
Here.
Joseph Keith.
Here.
Lawrence Korzeneski.
Here.
Michael Reinhardt.
Here.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is a meeting of the Planning Board of the Town of Lancaster. Please keep in mind that we are an advisory and recommending board and not a final decision-making body. The rules of the Planning Board allow us to recognize only the petitioners of the various projects and their representatives. We ask that anyone wishing to make comment do so in writing. We'd also like to acknowledge and welcome our new Planning Board liaison for the Town Board, Supervisor Leary. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you. We'll start by addressing the meeting minutes from the prior meeting, which was January 3rd. We had our snowstorm on the 17th, so missed our last meeting. Hopefully everyone made it through the snowstorm okay. We're just giving the board a couple more minutes because they've got a couple sets of meeting minutes they've got to look through. Okay, any modifications, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Look for a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Great. Now we'll move on to the communication list. And Cindy, Rebecca pointed out a typo that I'll have to get with you on.
I'm looking for it here. You want to just tell it? Or you can get it to her later?
I'll get it for later.
Okay. It's on 2.706.
2.7.06.
There's also an E missing. But this is what confused me.
Yep, yep.
Okay, no good.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll go to new business. Our first case will be the 5841 Genesee Street, proposed shop and storage. We also have your full set of drawings up on the screen. We're doing something new.
Can we get that to the C100?
Sure.
C101, please.
Keep going.
The next one, please. Good evening. John Barniak with Carmina Wood Design, here on behalf of Fred Donato and his proposed shop and storage development. So this project is located on Genesee Street, just west of the existing Tops Distribution Center. This is a site plan amendment to the site plan and the special use permit that was previously approved by the town board back in November 2022. The previously approved plan is right here. It consisted of 13 self-storage buildings, a self-storage office building, and 4 warehouse shop office buildings to the west. The front 2 acres highlighted in pink on this plan were to remain vacant for future development. The proposed site plan amendment includes a full development of the front 2 acres with an addition of self-storage buildings and the relocation of the proposed storage office building. This increases the total number of self-storage buildings on site to a total of 20. The proposed warehouse shop buildings on the west side of the site remain the same as previously approved. To date, we've addressed engineering review comments from Mr. Schiller, and we've also received Erie County DSM sewer approval. We're anticipating Water Authority backflow approval, DOT work permit approval within the near future. So with that said, tonight we're requesting the planning board's input for site plan review.
So board members, we're in the process of, as you can see on your paper, we're in the process of awaiting the coordination, full coordination. And we just brought the applicant in today to show you where we are and for you to ask any questions. So if there's any questions, feel free.
You're done on this in 22?
Pardon?
Was anything done on this in 22? Was Seeker?
Seeker?
Was that done?
Seeker was
In
completed.
2022?
Yeah, 22, yeah. This did receive site plan approval from the town board that year.
So what you're doing is adding buildings in the pink area.
Basically just add more self-storage units up front.
How many?
It went from 13 to 20, but it's a reconfigured,
Okay.
in the size and shapes of each building.
Well, isn't it almost like a mirror image of what's in the back?
Yeah, basically.
2 small ones and then a number.
up front,
Got it.
we just expanded here.
All right. And the item in between the buildings, what is that? No, there.
Stormwater?
Up there.
This is the
Stormwater?
stormwater
Okay.
management pond, yeah.
All righty. Are these heated?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if it's gotten to that point yet, but
Larry, Matt saying yes. Matt's saying yes, they
Matt's saying
are.
yes, they are? Oh, thanks, Matt.
Any other questions or comments from the board? No. Ed, anything from you?
No, they addressed all of our comments, just the outside agency approvals that we're waiting for.
Yep. Emily, anything from the legal department?
If I'm not mistaken, they need to do seeker again for the square footage that they're adding. Is that in
Yeah, they're adding 4 buildings,
Yeah.
136 units, 6,800 square feet
Okay.
total of additional storage there.
Yeah, so, one seeker.
Some of this is
Yep. Yeah. Matt, anything from the building department?
nothing really. I mean, from the zoning perspective, it's just amending, you're adding those buildings. Just want to make sure the existing use permit aligns with what's being built out.
Great. Supervisor Leary, any questions or comments?
Not at this time, thank you.
Board members, last chance, at least for this meeting. No? Well, then, I think at this point, we'll look for a motion to table.
I'll move.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. We will be in touch with you as soon as we're ready to do secret coordination.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, we could start with the site plan, that's fine, but as I said, I'll supplement the grading plan. And I have a detail sheet, I'm not sure really much on that is pertinent, but if necessary, I can bring that up too. You have the other 2 drawings that we have.
And as we get, as I mentioned this earlier, but as we work our way through this, we'll get a little more proficient.
That's fine. While you're waiting, I want to introduce you, these are my clients, they are the property owners, are obviously the gentlemen that are going to utilize the facility for the 3-day religious ceremony that we're talking about, that building would be used for, the structure would be used for.
Okay, hello?
And they would be better to answer, if you have any questions regarding the usage or the actual religious ceremony, they would be better to answer that question than I am, but I'll present the plans and the technical aspects of that, okay?
That's great. And then if we do ask questions that they have to answer, we'll ask them to come up to the microphone and speak to their
Sure,
managers.
absolutely. Want me to come up?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
While you're getting going here? For the record, I'm Tim Arlington with Apex Consulting, Survey and Engineering Service, PC. And let's see, I'll put up the grading plan. Is that what you're doing? So back in 2021, my clients purchased this property. It's actually 67 acres, which is quite large. It has quite extensive frontage along Genesee Street. The address is 5497. What you're seeing is just a small part of the property. Pretty much from this line here, the woods line, from that portion south, it's all woods. It's all pretty much wetlands. And of course, as you know, and is exhibited on the plan, the entire property pretty much is in a floodplain. So part of our process is to actually remove that, the small portion that we're looking at disturbing to add the 12,000 square foot structure, and of course the entrance coming in off of Genesee Street. The project we were trying to keep simple in that, of course, it's only being used for 3 days a year for their religious ceremony. Obviously the cost and the structure, the driveway, et cetera, they have to incur that, but we're trying to keep everything as simple as possible. In doing that, our focus was to try to keep disturbance, which you'll see on the grading plan, down to less than an acre. All of you, I assume, are aware that once we hit an acre, we're subject to DEC's stormwater management plan, speedies permits, et cetera. The cost of the storm drainage system for this type of project would be cost prohibitive. Not only cost prohibitive, but it'd be very difficult to comply with all the requirements if you're familiar with them. So the project basically just entails coming in. We have a private drive which has parking out front. We amended our plan to address your building inspector's comments to make sure we could have an emergency vehicle turnaround. That's what this T section reflects on the particular plan. I mean, we'll have structures inside the building, basically to collect the fluid from the ceremony, and that'll just go to a holding tank. That's basically the extent of the utilities, other than bringing in just a 1-inch water service. Because it's just a temporary use, we'll just have, and it's only being used for 3 days, we'll just have portable restrooms at this point, portable toilets. That's pretty much all. Because the structure is open, there's no heat thing, and then of course this year the ceremony is in June, so of course you're in a better time of the year. There will be just a minimal amount of electric required just for lights. There's not a big energy draw or anything like that. Now the stormwater, which I'll go to this drawing here. Let's see, I'll just slide this over just a bit. Again, to keep it simple, there's just a small portion that we're going to be bringing back out to the road. And of course, Genesee Street, as we know, is a state highway. And one of the things we're in the process, we submitted back in December as our application for our highway work permit, which is filling out the first step of the Perm 33. The majority of stormwater drains back. And Mr. Schiller's office, we went back and forth a couple times before I think we've addressed it finally to get the stormwater coming around and being detained, or detained, I should say, with the small detention facility behind the facility, and then of course it outlets. It just surface drain. Once it outlets, it drains. There's a tributary to Ellicott Creek that it actually eventually gets to it. Now the south boundary of this property actually is Ellicott Creek, but there's about 1,400 feet off the road. There's a small tributary to Ellicott Creek. So you've got a very large parcel, and once you get to the woods area, you're pretty much you're flowing actually into the wetland area, and then eventually it finds its way to the tributary to the creek. That's pretty much the basics of our property, the project, excuse me. Again, it's just a small structure, or excuse me, it's an open structure, and you actually have a copy of the drawing. Again, our firm didn't put this drawing together, but it was put together, by the company that most likely will be providing in that. My clients, I obviously approached them initially to get budgeting for it, but it is an open structure, essentially. And because it's an open structure, we're about 300 feet back. What we did do for landscape is put arborvitae in front of it, basically to screen it from the road. If you're familiar with the property, on both the east and west sides, there's quite a bit of vegetation to screen it from our neighbor. There's no structure within a close proximity of the property on the east side. On the west side, there is a house here, but there is still quite a bit of vegetation on this side that also provides screening of it. We wanted to set the building back a reasonable amount of distance so we weren't impacting the road, and subsequently we added the arborvitae, basically trying to screen the building and the ceremony as it's being conducted in this year in June. So that's pretty much the extent of our project. I'm certainly here to answer any questions. We have submitted the drawings our water service application to the Erie County Water Authority, to Ann Massaro. We expect that to be approved soon. The wastewater, the county health department doesn't have any review in what we're doing, as long as the waste is picked up by a certified hauler of that. The application to the DOT for our highway work permit was submitted again, obviously in December. That's in the review process. And right now, we're working on the application and we'll be submitting it by the end of the week to FEMA, because again, as I told you, the property as it stands, where we're putting the building, is still in the floodplain. So we have to go through what's called a CLOMAR, which is a conditional letter of map revision, based upon the small amount of fill we're proposing on the property. That's pretty much our project. I'm certainly here to answer any questions you've got. And as I said, if you have any questions relative to the ceremony, my client certainly can answer that question for you.
Thank you. At this point, we'll look to the board for any questions or comments.
Are there plans for the rest of the year?
Pardon me?
What are the plans for the rest of the year as it sits dormant?
It doesn't get used, that's right, it's just dormant.
Will the entranceway be blocked off in any way to prevent, like, are you
going to block the
Like it will be-
entranceway off after, because you're only using it for 3 days a year? Yeah, they'll probably put some kind of a temporary thing so people doesn't go back in there, because again, it's not being used thing. So yeah, we'll probably provide some kind of a temporary barricade or something so people doesn't come back there and vandalize it, sure.
Okay. Do we want to see that? What type of
Why don't you put up a cattle gate?
cattle gate? Yeah.
That's a possibility. I mean,
It looks
Not that
nice.
expensive.
That's-
yeah, we could certainly do something. I mean, and obviously, they're concerned about safety and vandalism too, of course. And if we could certainly encourage them to do that, that's fine.
And you should put that on the plans.
Yeah,
sort of
because,
cattle gate.
because we're not ready to make an approval at this stage, because we're still in the review process from the different agencies. We look for you, when you come back, to have some type of detail for us to see what you'd be proposing to put up there.
Okay.
We don't need 23 new sets of big plans or anything.
I'm sorry, Rebecca,
We
just,
don't need a million pages of new plans, you could just
yeah,
do a handout.
we'll provide you a detail of what we're going to do. That would be fine.
That'd be great.
I have a question about the rest of the property, because as you stated, it's floodplain, it's wetland, it's all these other things that on their own make it very difficult to develop. But what kind of restrictions? I'd like to see some type of a written document that says from a certain point to the southern end of the property is protected habitat, and that they have no plans.
Sure.
And I need you to, if you could, figure out where that would start in something a little concrete. And you said there's a tree line. So we have a regulation that talks about activities have to be 25 feet away from the drip line of the farthest out. So perhaps
Sure.
you could find something like that
Okay.
to identify.
Yeah, and Rebecca, what we can do, again, maybe I oversimplified it, but there is, the vegetation line is really, in essence, is the limits of what we would say is the usable part of this land.
Right, it's pretty open except for,
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And they understand from that point on, you've got the floodplain, you've got the wetlands and those things that we know that they cannot impact, of course.
and we have town legislation on top of that.
Sure. All right, so I can give you like a short narrative that gives you approximate distance back to that point, and stipulate that that's essentially the limits of what is
They might-
usable.
Yeah, because at some point in the future, they might want to come back with a plan to do something in addition to this front, which doesn't affect the rest of it.
Correct.
But-
Yep.
yeah.
You're right, Rebecca. For tonight, though, we're only
Right.
presenting this project. And obviously, their hope is to be able to receive their approvals and possibly get the structure
Right.
completed so they could use it this calendar year for their thing, and that's June. So that's unfortunately not that far off. So they're limited in what we can do and what we're asking for at this particular point in time.
Right, it would be a whole new site plan.
And it would be a whole new site plan if we were proposing anything more than that. That's
Right.
correct.
And I understand you're not doing that. It's just that what happens is people, you get to pay taxes on the whole parcel. And-
Yes.
And you're like using just so much.
Yes.
So I just wanted it up front that
Mm-hmm.
you draw the line and say, we may only be using this, but
Mm-hmm.
you get to pay taxes on all of it.
Yeah, they do have to pay taxes on it. That's
Yeah,
true.
You do.
We understand that.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
You indicated that they're using porta potties,
Yeah, again,
and that there's no water coming in.
no, there is public water coming in, but that's strictly for hose bibs. The porta potty thing, this will be to hose down the actual pad.
That was the next question. How do we propose to get water in there to, all the fluids to wash it into the holding tank?
So you've got three essentially catch basin type structures that collect it, and they will go out to a holding tank.
And
The holding tank will then, will obviously be pumped out at the end of the 3-day ceremony and taken to, by a certified,
transport.
transport, that's a good word, thank you, to where that is certified, licensed to do that. And of course, the service, we'll probably have to see if we can winterize the service, because obviously it's only gonna be used for a few days here, if it can be done. Otherwise, they'll have to leave the power on inside the little hot box out by the road.
You mentioned that this year it's June, that it obviously it fluctuates then, does it ever happen in the wintertime?
So this year, the ceremony is in June. Next year is in July, is that correct?
Before 10 days.
I'm sorry?
It will be, next 10 days come earlier.
Every year?
Yes.
But is it generally May, June, or July?
Yes.
Okay, so it's generally May, June, or July.
Okay. And then the last question that I have is, have there been any discussions with the neighbors at all?
Have you discussed anything with your neighbors and things?
No.
Not at this point. Since the property is large and it's pretty well screened on both east and west, we're trying to minimize the impact to any of our neighbors. And so really, by screening it from the road, we feel that it's pretty secluded or pretty protected, that it's, the ceremony, which is only 3 days, should not really affect any of the neighbors that are in that vicinity.
Is it day and night, evening too? Daytime hours, sun up?
Yeah, it's just during the day.
Tim, what's your screening? I see here you're using arborvitae.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they won't last. I'm-
Okay, you have another suggestion?
A lot of other things, arborvitae, the deer in that area are just thick
Okay.
as thieves.
Well, I was trying to put something that you could plant and it would provide instant, well, I'd say instant, quick
It does.
screening.
It's growing in its green.
Correct, exactly.
But the deer will come for miles. I mean, they love it. So what
Okay.
I'm thinking is, obviously a conifer, because that's what you want.
Yeah, okay.
But, and fast growing, you've got a lot of them that you're putting in quickly to make a nice looking screen. And I appreciate that very much. And if you want to go ahead with it, you go ahead. But next year we'll be back planning all new.
Okay,
So-
all right, well,
I'm afraid that would happen is
okay.
usually the case.
Maybe again, I need to get something that they can plant quickly, so we may have to, Rebecca, go with what we've got and maybe have to,
Well, maybe wrap them,
and maybe we can wrap them, that we could certainly do
if
that.
you could wrap them.
Yeah, all right, then I'll suggest to my clients to wrap them so that, try to protect them as much as
They'll
possible,
be eaten to the deer line.
okay?
Guaranteed, if you don't.
Well, I know there's deer in the woods, I mean, they obviously, it's a perfect habitat for them,
We are overloaded in Western New York.
okay?
The count is
All right.
very high. So I just wanted to bring that up because I'd hate for you to put in, I mean, this, I love them, they look great. But if you wrap them or fence them, you know, you can fence with chicken wire 2 or 3, like a foot away from them.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're
but-
talking about.
But it's gotta be high. So,
Yeah, you would have to, you'd have to wrap them almost the full height, pretty close. Probably 4 to 5 feet, probably 5 feet. All right. What we could do is if it's.
Just so you know.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
For trees and.
No. Ed, anything from you?
Well, we got a submittal back in
Friday.
Friday. I know it's still being looked at, so.
Okay, great. Emily?
I don't have anything.
Matt, anything from the building department?
Yes, several of the items from the December comments. Yeah, the December comment letter. A lot of the items were addressed with the resubmittal of the drawings. There are also several comments in that letter for specifically the special use, perhaps, some conditions that could be applied. It's going to address, you know, the cleanup, the on-site tank, the clean-out tank, the porta potties, the days of use, perhaps the gating, all of those comments that were made, that can all be encompassed in special use. So that being said, it may be possible tonight to have the town board set public hearing for public comment of special use for the facility, just to get that discussion out there, get the public comments out there, because I do understand the time constraints from construction to actual use in mid-June. 30, 45, maybe even 60 days prior is a drop dead date for construction. So rather than the 30-day notification after seeker, after recommendation, you know, we're talking 90 days out. We're already into April. So getting that discussion for special use on the docket and move so that all those comments can be incorporated with that, so that when approval can happen, it kind of lines up. The mention of the floodplain development permit, I do have the information ready for the acknowledgement. I'll get that back by the end of the week here to get that into FEMA for the recommendation. Now that we do have what I believe is the final construction documents for Ed's review, he can forward that information to the attorney's office to get that draft stormwater maintenance agreement in place, at least in draft form, so that it could be filed at county. I will point out seeker response from county environment and planning. They did mention the environmental sensitive area of the south side of that property. So again, a deed covenant drafted, reviewed by the town attorney's office, so that when it's ready, it could be filed, that protects those resource areas, the environmental resource areas.
Can I ask a question? So are we talking, Matthew, that again, like the woods line base, are we talking about using that as a threshold, essentially?
It could be, and my recommendation is to look at our local law as we identify environmental resource areas, so wood lines, floodplain,
Okay.
wetland areas, things of that nature. And I believe that's the comment that they were focusing on here through the county environmental planning. So it's specific. Any further development of the parcel should be restricted, and the remainder of the parcel should be protected. The southern end of that.
Right.
We already know the northern end was at one time cultivated and what have you.
Correct.
Okay, and then they did comment on parking, and again, I believe the special use permit is going to accommodate that, because look, this is a limited use building. It's meant for a specific use. It only takes 3 to 5 people.
Right.
You don't.
These gentlemen you're looking at the users of the
Right,
breakfast
exactly.
tonight.
So, you know, the 2 or 3 parking spots is adequate for this use, and that's why the special use permit is in place to deal with that sort of thing. Thank you.
Can I, all right, I'll probably contact you just so I can be certain as to the limits that we're talking about for this.
We can have that discussion, but
Yeah.
ultimately direction right now is going to come from this board and
Okay.
give you directive moving
Okay.
forward. Numerated items that are necessary to get the
Okay.
recommendation.
Okay.
But certainly encourage you to have that discussion with our code enforcement official.
Okay, right. But you want me to propose the limits we think were within your guidelines, is that a good word? Okay, fair enough. I can do that.
Matt, anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Leary?
Yeah, just for clarification, these are the 5 individuals who will be using it for the ceremony. Does anybody else show up to watch, to, anything like that?
Not
It's just 5 people that are going to be using this for 3 days,
That's
once
correct.
a year.
Once time, 3 days, once a year, that's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just one question. The building screens the area from the activity that's being performed in the building.
Mm-hmm.
How loud is this
Noise.
noise, is what I'm saying. And it's
I
only for
know.
3 days, and it's only for a limited amount of
Yeah.
time, but
So, can you answer that question as far as any noise that's occurring while?
No, it'll be noise.
I guess the answer would be minimal.
okay.
I can't say that,
You
I
know
can't
where
say
I'm
it's,
coming.
I can't say it's zero,
No, I
but I would
understand.
say it's minimal, okay?
Thank you.
Is this being moved from a different facility?
No,
No, so this wasn't performed this year?
no, this is their proposed location, there isn't one currently, no.
Is this just 5 people?
Approximately, yes, 4 to 5 people. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Anything else?
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
So this board will table it till the seeker determination, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
At this point, we'll look for a motion to table.
So moved.
Look for a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, motion is tabled.
All right, so in clarification, between now and let's say the next, the next first meeting in March, I guess, is when we would hopefully target to address all these other things that we discussed. Specifically, the points that Matt brought up regarding the special use, the termination of limits, and a couple other
The
things.
gate,
What's that?
the gate.
And the gate, yes,
That's all
yes.
under special
Gate.
use, yeah.
Right. Now, would it be possible, I guess, you guys, you just send me like an email on any other points that you might want me to address?
It'll be part of the, yes, it'll be part of
Okay.
correspondence that comes from,
Okay.
from the planning department.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right. All right, and with that, I guess, thank you for this evening, and we'll see you in next month, I guess you could
Thank you.
say.
Thank you.
Would it be appropriate to recommend special use to the town board so they could at least set the public hearing in a time frame that's going to be proper? I mean, it should go
Yeah.
concurrently, this process.
I don't see any reason why we couldn't do that, Ed. Do you see anything
Absolutely.
that would prevent us? Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
When would that meeting be?
Our next town board meeting is going to be at the beginning of
Monday.
Monday, but I don't know if it's going to be
Beginning of the
enough
week.
time to get that resolution out to set a public hearing, but the first Monday of March.
Okay,
And they could set the hearing for the
Now,
next meeting date, and our 30 days would already have gone by.
You don't need to be at this.
okay, that was my next question, okay.
It's just setting a hearing.
It's administrative type situation. Okay, okay, again, thank you
It's all
very
stuff
much.
to keep you moving along.
Okay, understood.
So do we need a motion to set it?
Oh,
To recommend it?
Yes, yeah.
Recommend the
Yeah,
board
look
set.
for a motion.
All right, also move, set it for public, to send it to the town board for a special use permit hearing.
Okay. Look for a second on that motion.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Okay,
okay, thank you again.
thank you. Have a good evening. Okay, now we'll move to the, what we're calling the old business section. And really, all this is to,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. What we're doing is, what we're trying to do is make sure we're capturing where we are with all the projects that are out there, and just give you an update. I will read through what we have here to make sure that, number one, we're all on the same page, and number two, that the public hears where we are, and if there's any questions, then certainly they have the ability to go through the communications log, but this will also put this out there for them as well. So we've got TJR Products. As per Bob Blood of GPI, they're aware of the items that are requested within the engineering review, including the request to obtain drainage easements, and are in the process of responding. We did our secret coordination on 10/24/23.
I met with them today.
Okay?
And I think we've got to a reasonable conclusion, so once they get the revisions back into us, they should be in pretty good shape.
Great. Any questions from the board? Okay, Orville's outstanding items noted at the 12/6 Planning Board meeting include combining of two parcels, proof of filing and updating of the deed, state variance is needed, engineering comments require a response, and apparatus road needs to be widened to accommodate emergency vehicles. Andy Marino of Trito Engineers was informed of all this on the 16th of January, and that seeker's not been referred due to lack of digital copy being provided to the town attorney's office. And then on January 30th, Chris Strong of Colbeck asked for the project to be tabled. They're trying to work through some of these issues. Okay. Move on to 131 pavement. As per Anthony Pandolfi of Carmina Wood, he's spoken with Matt and will be making an updated site plan submittal due to project scope changing. Updating of the 1998 special use permit is required. And then we received revised submittal yesterday, I believe? Yesterday. Is that accurate with you, Matt? Okay. Windsor Ridge subdivision, Elliot Lasky and Ken Zolich made a presentation regarding the subdivision before the town board during their work session on January 15th. Chuck Malcolm of Hodgson Ross submitted via email correspondence to Sean Hopkins regarding the positive declaration issued to the project in 2019 and the adoption of local law number 2 of 2024 establishing the moratorium. So that one is essentially on hold.
Can I comment?
Absolutely, that's what I was looking at.
It wasn't even approved by the town board to move forward to the planning board.
Okay.
That was the conclusion. There are some legal issues that are probably going to come up with the size of the lots versus what we changed the required size of the lots there, so they're going to have to go through a whole legal process before they'd ever get a recommendation to even come to the planning board from the town board.
Great. Okay. Awesome.
It's Windsor Ridge South,
Windsor Ridge South.
that we just got a whole set of drawings on.
Correct.
Yeah, we had rescinded the neg deck in 2019, issued a pos deck, and when they submitted the drawings, I reached out to Chuck and I said, what is this? They owe us a EIS. And that's what he basically wrote to their attorney and said, what is this? You owe us an EIS. So,
It's a positive deck. Have they had a chance for another scoping session?
no, there's been no scope or anything
So
done.
they need to come in and go through.
Yeah, they do a draft scope, final scope.
Because we have a lot of different changes in our environmental regs since they started too.
Correct.
Yep.
And
Yep.
width, lot size and,
They were issued a new joint permit as well.
pardon?
They were issued a new joint permit as well.
By the court.
The original permit expired,
Yeah, so
the Army Corps DEC permit.
Yeah, right.
There's floodplain implications, which they've done a good job of avoiding. There's quite a bit of work that they need to do in there.
And the traffic, the traffic
Quite a
studies
bit of
are,
work to do in there.
yeah.
So since that was never received a positive deck from the town board, correct?
Correct.
So that means they are not grandfathered in. They need to change their lot sizes per all the new code?
So that would all be part of the EIS, come back with all their, I mean, they have to come up with, they have to do a draft scope where we identify all the issues, and then they have to address them all in the EIS.
Which means they're gonna lose a bunch of lots because the lot
Well,
size
probably,
is
sure.
now bigger.
Yeah.
And the wetlands have probably changed.
Yeah, that they changed. They got the new delineation, and that's what their plans reflected. But the process is wrong. They have to scope this thing and do an EIS.
There's a lot of things that, well, I just want to mention and get on record that when they made the first part, there were some tree species there that were identified by the DEC as being, no, I don't want to get the wrong word, threatened. I think they were threatened species. And so the DEC at that time was thinking about asking to do a tree survey to identify them. Well, since then, now we have that in our legislation, so we can require a tree survey by 6 inches and by species. And if we find that species, then just up front, the DEC is probably going to widen their scope. It changes it from a class, I think it's a 3 wetland to a 2. So just be aware. So
Yeah.
it's a year out, but that's a year out before they come back.
Well, they can come back with a scope, whatever they want, draft scope.
Okay.
That's, timeline is all theirs right now.
But we don't act on anything that is final, anything until we get through our new process.
Yeah.
Okay.
My head. Thank you.
Next one is the Roop subdivision, 647 Ransom Road. Seeker was recommended for approval by the planning board. There are variances that are needed, but they have not yet made it to the ZBA agenda. Anastasi subdivision and site plan, September 2023. The planning board recommended a negative deck after public hearing was held for the subdivision. Subdivision and site plan were tabled pending the provision of an easement or merging of parcel. And we're still waiting on that.
That's pavement road?
Pavement.
324 pavement.
Harris Hill subdivision sketch plan was submitted on 9/6/23, and then the planning board meeting and project was tabled. And Stony Road subdivision was tabled for responses to code enforcement and engineering comments. Those are the updates that we have for what we're calling old business. As you can see, we're trying to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we are also communicating as much as we can out to the public as to where we are. This is what we started talking about before, about being more transparent as a board.
Is 9 Lancaster Parkway not?
We didn't have an update on that one. So the intent is for moving, as we move forward, we're not going to go through all of this at each meeting, but if there's new updates, any of these that are out there, or if there's anything that comes up, we'll make sure that we bring it back up again.
I like it.
What about Stutzman? It appears to be dead. And what about Seabird?
Seabird was, again, decked. And
So they'd be in the same position as Windsor Ridge.
that's correct, yeah. They came in and talked to us 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, 3 months ago, when it was, and trying to figure out where they are. I don't know if they changed attorneys or what. He was trying to get a feel of where they were, and that's the last we've heard from them. And Stutzman is pretty much dead. My understanding is the land's for sale, I think.
The land was put back on the market for sale.
Yeah, so that project's basically dead, as far as I know.
Thanks.
Are there any other projects or subdivisions that are out there that you guys are wondering where we're at?
So did the town board approve a moratorium subdivision right now?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, we are meeting every Monday, something new.
Yeah, we had the first meeting with the moratorium, assigning different people to different committees on there. So we're going to meet as needed. on Mondays. Next meeting will be the 26th of February, and then we'll go from there. If we need to have a meeting the next Monday, we will. We can wait a couple of weeks, we will. So it's going to depend on when we get all the answers to all the questions involved in our moratorium and what we can do to protect the residents and make it, better development as we go forward. And it could take 6 months, could take 9 months, could take a year, whatever it takes. As soon as we have the answers, then we'll step back up and, deal with it at that point.
So is there a maximum duration for that moratorium that's legally allowed?
By law, it's a year. You could ask for an additional 6 months. We don't anticipate it taking more than a year, and if we can get it done quicker than that, we will. But we want to make sure everything's in place before we bring large developments, back into the town of Lancaster.
So that includes any subdivision that was not started before the date of the moratorium, or
Any subdivision that was not approved by the town board itself, just, can't go forward during the moratorium.
Got it, okay.
What happened to that Pine Hill or something, one around the pond?
Pavement, Pine Hill?
Final plat
That's a final,
stage.
that's a final plat.
Final pond?
Yeah, they're ready, their final plat is done, they're ready to see the public hearing, and assume it'll be approved, and they'll be done.
Okay. It was like 10 big lots.
Yeah,
It's
big,
the one
like,
by the police over there.
yeah, it's the corner of Pavement and Peppermint.
And to circle back to the moratorium Mondays that Supervisor Larry put together, department heads sit down with him, as he said, on Mondays, and he's assigned each department head to different subgroups, if you will, for different parts of this that we're looking to tackle. There's traffic, there's, I don't remember all of them, but infrastructure, yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, we're dealing with the county and the state, we have people assigned to be doing that. Which I had in my list.
Yeah, I left mine home too.
Recreation, we're going to talk to the
Oh,
recreation
I actually have one.
department, see how much space we have, how many more people they can handle, what we're going to do to try to obtain additional recreational space. Thank you, in green space. What else do we have?
You have zoning, you have county, intersection study, fire department.
Fire department, because of the number of calls in 2023 versus 2022 versus 2023 went up substantially. Meeting with the police department, the number of calls went up about 4,100 more calls year over year, and it's way above the 10-year average for that, so we got to figure out what we're going to do there. We put a couple of new police officers on, but is that enough? You're going to bring in a couple hundred more families into an area. We got to make sure we have the appropriate coverage to handle that.
Planning department.
Planning department is brand new, and city's part of that, and basically, so we're trying to coordinate everything a little bit better than we have in the past. Make sure that this group and all the rest of the groups are all on the same page with the town board, so we're all acting as one.
And then the last one was comprehensive plan.
Yeah, and we're going to be rewriting the comprehensive plan. We're going to take what's already there and we're going to add to it as we update it again with intersection studies and whatever additional studies we do. And we're going to take that on ourselves. We have an existing document, so it's going to be a lot of the same that's in there, but we are going to make appropriate changes, and we'll take care of that ourselves. We're not going out paying anybody to do that. We're going to take care of it and then have it reviewed by the attorneys and Matt and everybody else to make sure it's in good order, and we'll have that out at the end of the moratorium meetings, just to make sure we got that out there, so everybody understands, including the developers, what we're looking for, so they can take a look at that comprehensive plan and understand, what we're going to be doing going forward.
So those are the different groups that the supervisors put together for us.
So I have one other question. Has there been any more discussion? I know there was one point where the town was supposedly considering trying to provide some more recreation space on the south end of town.
We're looking at both, as part of the moratorium and independently. We had another meeting with the rec department and the highway department as to what their needs are, what they recommend. So I'm trying to work with as many people as I can on that, including the county, state, looking for grants. We would love to get a spot, so we're going to continue to pursue that. We got a new Director of Administration and Finance. He's going through all the finances, see what we have. A little question about, how things are done in the past, and we're trying to correct those right now. And as soon as we know if we have any money to move forward with something like that, that we can buy it independently, we'll put that to the board, see if they want to do it. But if we don't, then we're going to have to reach out and try to get grants from the county, from the state. Anybody want to participate and, throw a few bucks in there and help us out. Again, we'll see what we can do to add more space. We're trying to expand Westwood a little bit. We'll see if we can purchase a piece of land that is right there, right in the middle of Westwood. So, yeah, that's not in the south, but we are trying to expand our recreational areas, including with new development coming in there, perhaps putting in some recreational space, green space, right in the development, so.
It's actually part of something that we're looking at too from the planning department, the planning sector, planning group of the moratorium Monday is try to see if there's something we can do to work on when developers come into the town to try to get some type of green space put into these developments as well.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Unless it's.
Unless there's some incentive for them, you're not going to get much cooperation.
Approval would be incentive.
Yeah, we have an approval that we have to get.
Yeah, but if,
Our comprehensive plan, and we'll move forward with it.
well, but if it's not written there that they need to do it, then good luck with that.
It'll probably be written there. Yes, ma'am.
What kind of recreational sites are, there's recreation and there's recreation. I mean, there's soccer fields that are just like elitist use. And then you can play soccer on them and you can do a couple other things, but that's it.
No, we're looking at multi-use fields,
Multi-use, yeah,
multi-use fields, playgrounds,
but there's multi.
walking trails.
Walking trails, yeah.
Well, walking trails are usually not walked on.
Well, the one in Westwood is extremely busy.
Are they?
Oh, yeah,
I've
extremely
never
busy.
seen anybody on them.
Oh, extremely.
You don't go that way.
Extremely.
I do, but I usually take the road.
Yeah, no, they're well used.
Right now, we're also looking at connecting neighborhoods through walking trails or bike trails. We've got one in the works right now that we're looking at. We've got some other ideas how we can connect neighborhoods, especially like right around the high school, the neighborhoods there, bring them all together so the kids don't have to walk in the street.
Right.
They can go through the walking or the bike path, whatever we come up with, and get right to the high school. We're looking at other sections of the town as well. Basically, we're in Lancaster trying to connect neighborhoods. And we've had some ideas from some of the residents as well. So we'll look at any town land to expand that and try to come up with some walking trails in that area. Because we do have so many water issues, for the land that the town owns right now. So we can't use them for a whole heck of a lot. But if we can connect a couple of neighborhoods and give the kids somewhere to go, people somewhere to walk, bikers somewhere to ride, we're going to look for that.
Any other questions of the supervisor?
How do you like the new job?
It's great. Every day's different. Kind of what I used to from law enforcement, so it's good. You got to make a lot of decisions fairly quickly and do the best you can and keep moving forward. So that's what we're doing. I got a great staff up there right now. And as you folks saw with all the stuff that happened here in the town, between the blizzards and the unfortunate fire at the apartment complex, the town employees were outstanding during all those events. I mean, it was amazing. The highway department stayed for 50, 60 hours straight, fighting against that blizzard and the wind. They just kept going out there and plowing, come back, get a little rest, go back out there. Rec department was there, plowing out the fire departments and everything. Then during the fire, everybody stepped up at the senior center for the people who were displaced, gave them everything that they needed. Youth Bureau came running over there, it was, again, helping out. Pregnant woman, they were collecting money for her, there still are. Again, I was very, very impressed because now I'm dealing more with the people on a daily basis on how everybody's, stepped up to the plate and really helped out during the last month. And it's been very, very busy. And that's fine. We'll keep moving forward, keep making decisions, and try to get things done properly.
Literally trial by fire.
Pretty much.
The supervisor and the town board have both been very supportive of the planning board and the new planning department. This tool that you see in front of us is one of the, just a quick example of something. I think it's going to be a very useful tool for us moving forward. Obviously, we got to work through the kinks a little bit, but we'll get there.
And if you want, we got another one there that if you guys want to use it to connect the two, you can have one computer connected to both and make it so the audience can see and you guys can see it. So,
I think
try to
that,
do, moving to the 21st century.
I think that's going to need to be, I'll say, better explained to the presenters on what's available, because obviously today with the easel and the TV wasn't a great scenario because we couldn't see the part of the TV because of where the easel is. So I don't know what the right answer is, but I do appreciate the step forward. But the presenters aren't aware of what we have and what's available either, so.
And Cindy and I we made the decision on the fly today to use this, so it was really just, in fact, I'm sure that supervisor didn't even know that we were going to be using it today when he walked in.
It's fine, we can use both of them, that's what they're there for. We use them for training and other things as well, just to make it a little bit easier. But again, yes, it's kind of trial by fire, we'll get it down right, we'll get a pointer, whatever we need.
Gotta get
to
you a
make
letter
it
this
bigger.
month.
For the planning board, when they do these, presentations, I want to be able to see the neighborhood as well. So we're going to ask them to bring something like that, or we'll find it ourselves so we can see, who are the neighbors next to where they're trying to do something. I think that's big, important to the town board, to the planning of these different developments.
It might help to, and I don't know how you do this, but ask the presenters which sheets are their most important sheets. Because obviously we have all these sets here that have 30 sheets. And most people that come in talk to 2, 3, maybe 4 sheets.
These are pretty
So maybe those are somehow,
The best thing, if we let the applicants know we've got this, have them bring what they want.
Yeah, they can put their own demonstration, right? They're obviously very savvy.
Yeah,
you know?
bring it on a
Look at what they
thumb
put
drive.
together.
but they don't know yet.
Right,
Like I
right,
said,
right.
I mean, we ask for a lot more here than they usually talk about.
Yeah.
In case you didn't realize, in the communications log, Cindy is really spending a lot of time with the applicants on a regular basis now. And that's something that she certainly will be able to convey to them. And we can bring a thumb drive and talk to them about whatever media they want.
I'm sure, obviously I'm in the business, so I'm sure they would appreciate that. If
Yeah.
all they need to bring is a thumb drive instead of all those
Yeah,
boards,
right.
they're gonna bring the thumb drive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Walking in the wind and protecting from the rain and the snow, and
Okay.
it's a heck of a lot easier sticking a thing in your pocket.
Just don't forget the password.
Cindy, did you want to provide any updates on any of the stuff that you're working on? Okay. In case you did, there is a new planning department phone number, and I think we've passed that out, if we have, right, at previous meetings.
It's not 1-800-CARLO?
I thought it was Matt.
Yeah.
What do you?
There is actually a phone number directly to the planning department, and there is an email address specifically for comments, and there will be a separate one then also for planning board comments. So as people are getting a little bit more involved in the public, they're able to directly get those comments either to the chair or to myself, so that I distribute through the attorney's office. So communication will be improved in that respect.
Website looks really good too. So once these electronics get up there going, anybody can access it and look at the projects.
And speaking of the public, as we talked about before, we're looking to go live, not next meeting, but the following meeting, about allowing public comment at these meetings. So if there's ideas you have on that, certainly let us know. We're still trying to fumble our way through that as well. Fumble's probably wrong. We're figuring out, work our way through that as well, trying to figure out the best way, the most efficient way. We've looked at what the town board does and tried to model after that, but there are some things that we need to tweak based off of our certain scenarios.
Just a written time limit.
Yep.
That's it.
And it's part of the discussion, is for each project, either a 15 or a 30-minute session, and then each person would be allowed maybe a 3-minute. So with 15 minutes, you would have 5 speakers, make sure that the organization or whoever would be the focus would understand that they wouldn't want to have their 5 individuals with more of a diverse conversation to be coming up to speak maybe just so it wasn't repetitive, but definitely make sure that they know there are some limitations, but I think the positive is getting more of their input.
And the question that we're trying to wrestle with is, when do you have them, do they come in initially at project introduction? Do you limit it at that? We're trying to figure all that stuff out, right?
What we had was, in the agenda order, was for a presentation by the applicant, questions and comments from the planning board, public input, and then to be able to return to the planning board for further discussion, and then to make a motion or to, table or whatever. But this way, you could circle back and still have comment initially, and then come back to anything that was brought up, any concerns.
Is that thing like Alexa, and you can say, Alexa, set timer for 3 minutes?
Cindy's Alexa.
It possibly is, but we haven't been trained on it, so I'm going to call Joe tomorrow in the morning and just say, what are my features? But usually I do a stopwatch. So
I say we get Carlo an egg timer and get him to hold the gun.
Tony, I think you
You can give that to me, I'm good with that hammer.
Tony, volunteer, Sergeant at Arms.
I vote for that.
Anything else? Anybody?
I saw that we had 3 drafts of the new applications that came with those communications. If you're ready to say yes, happy to put those up on the website, make it a part of the applications. 2 comments though, if I may. The site plan, if we can have that condensed down to 1 page so we don't have the signatory either on the back or on another page. It could be just a manipulation of the text, just to try to get it all to fit on 1 page. And then as far as subdivisions, the appendix B and E, if we can move the seeker fee to appendix E, preliminary plat, because all of those actions are done at the preliminary plat stage, minor and major subdivision. There's issue with minor subdivision with getting the EAF fee because it's always a part of the sketch plan. And that's not the time to do seeker review. Sketch plan is more of a concept proposal, comment, come back with whatever amendments. So, with those couple of changes, we can get that right up there and update these things so we can be current and we can finally get these electronic copies as a part of the application.
So definitely, there is like a mission statement also, if Supervisor Larry is good with that mission statement, we could start loading that so that people realize the directive, and then also the new site plan packet, the subdivision with those edits. And then we do have some other information that we've been bringing in, actually the spreadsheet that would track all the projects. That way, then on a shared drive, we could log in and see where the project that they're looking for is at.
Sure. Yeah, but right now for the application, so we can move forward almost now, we can get these documents done, and then we'll change out all our packets in our website so that when the submittals come, it's the way you need them.
Yeah, sure.
And then lastly, was there ever any more communication from Department of Transportation, that individual that wanted to discuss access management?
No.
From November-ish or something like that?
No, I'll have to reach out to him.
Probably beneficial.
Yeah, I'll circle back with him.
Okay.
Anybody else? Anything?
Appreciate what you guys are doing. Thank you very much for taking the time to look out for the town. Appreciate it.
Okay, hearing nothing, I'm going to move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
There you go.
Oh.
Thanks, Carmen, I
Sorry,
used all
I was
my
a
words.
couple minutes late. I decided I was too disgusted.
There's a story about a guy, one of the judges, Mary Ann Queen, only female judge on the bench, 30 years or 40 years ago. Some guys go nuts up there. Moving around like
George
that.
and Brando.
She takes her deputy back and says, "Long on the scene, you know."